All right. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody, depending on where you're logging in from. My name is Brandon Ivy from Los Angeles, California. I am a Vice Admiral of the Vara Ecosystem, or shall we now start saying VRX. Get used to that. We've been having showcases from the Vara side all week. They were going through a new branding for VRX as they're getting closer and closer for the token launch, the game launch, the ecosystem launch, and to separate from the other programs out there that have a similar name. That's one of the things I hope you guys pulled from all of the showcases this week. This is my second showcase that I'm doing to kind of break down, what corporate has been sharing so that you understand what's going on and why people like myself is getting very, very, very excited. So earlier today, there was a showcase from Vara that is showing the tokenomics and the roadmap of VRX. And I was in the middle of taking my kid to school and, just everybody hitting me up at the same time. So I like doing the showcase as well so I can see it more in detail, stop, pause it, give my thoughts, break down some of the things I think you guys might not get at that time. Let me let them know. Watch party is live. Oh, I put out the wrong link there. Oops, I put the wrong link. 1 second. Oops, yes, I gave out the wrong link. Share, here we go. That's the right one. Live bar showcase watch party 2 p.m. Yeah, I put out the wrong link. All right, so let me give it a second to allow the right people to come on in. I'm going to play another short video clip till we get there. Take a look.
Back up. We need back up immediately.
All right. So yeah, my apologies. I've been multitasking all morning and I put the wrong link. I'm doing a Dark Fusion white paper read tomorrow. So in the Telegram groups, I put that link instead of this one for right now. So I got that. If you go to the Telegram groups, let your people know. So to make sure that they're clicking on the right one. So this is the showcase. We are also streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We're live right now on the Vara Hub group as well. So anytime you guys get lost, you can just go to my YouTube channel, go to the Vara Hub. We're live. So we're going to do the showcase, and let me go ahead, and because they did a 30-minute showcase, which means it's going to take me about at least 45 minutes to get through if I don't go on some long tangents. So let me pull that video up and we will get started. See, and I'll try to let them, because from what I heard, they were pretty explanatory on what they were saying. The VRX unpacking. All right, here we go.
Welcome, guys. Excited to be here. I'm Greg Stevens. I'm the founder of Vara, and I'm here today with Mike Saunders, our CEO. This is a great topic today. We're going to be talking around the decentral autonomous organization and tokenomics. So I'm going to get straight into it.
Hey, those of you on my ILCA community, what did you just say? Decentralized autonomous organization. What did I tell you guys? This is something we're going to need to know about. So for the rest of the Vara community, next week, I will be doing, in fact, next Saturday, a specific live training for the entire Vara community on DAOs. What are DAOs? Decentralized autonomous organizations. So you understand what they're doing here with the whole VRX Vara ecosystem. So that's going to be a week from tomorrow, but I just thought that it was interesting that he said that. So you guys said, I told you guys are going to start hearing it all over the place. So take a look.
Great topic today. We're going to be talking around the decentral autonomous organization and tokenomics. So I'm going to get straight into it. Firstly, Mike, this is directed at you. Why have we created this system, this decentral autonomous organization? Why have we morphed from a centralized business into this decentralized ecosystem?
So the question he's asking, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? Why did we move this way? So let's see what Mike says.
Thanks, Greg. I'd like to just start off by saying thank you very much for having me. Great to be here.
Great to have you here, Mike.
Yeah, I think the realization that this ecosystem is significantly bigger than the sum of its parts, and it's the opportunity for this to evolve way beyond the confines of what one singular centralized entity can actually manage, is really at the core of why we're wanting to make this move towards a DAO. We already seeing opportunity for multiple different types of contributors and consumers in this ecosystem.
Different content partners, different publishers.
Across the board.
Okay, so I got to set this picture for you guys to understand. We're not talking about $1 million industry. We're not talking about $1 billion industry. We're talking about a multi-trillion dollar industry. And I don't know if I'm going to have to play this for you guys. I've played it enough. The video of Larry Fink from BlackRock. He's in charge of $10 trillion. And why he's so excited, he said that this technology is the future. It's going to unlock the entire financial system, which is over 100 trillion when we're looking globally. And one central force can't manage that. It's got to be decentralized. It's got to be opening up. And that's why Larry Fink is so excited moving in this way. So Mike right here is saying, look, this is bigger than the sum of its parts. Meaning from what we originally decided to do, the project is even bigger. So we've got to expand. All right. So listen to this.
You look at user-generated content from individuals. You've got a variety of types of consumers, game developers, gamers, play-to-earn gamers. You've got brands that are coming on board. We've got our network affiliates. There's a variety of user types here, and we really need to move towards a more democratic approach to how we're going to control the trajectory of this ecosystem.
And any kind of sort of background in terms of what a DAO structure is? I know we were talking about it earlier today. Maybe just for the audience, you can just give us some insights there.
Absolutely. DAO, decentralized autonomous organization. It's all in a name, really. The term has been bandied around since probably the early 90s. Many would argue, though, that the first real application of a DAO is actually Bitcoin itself.
Yes.
As being a truly global decentralized protocol, even in the way that the validators actually work in the Bitcoin ecosystem, needing in excess of 90% consensus for any actual updates to take place. A lot of contributors can throw ideas into the pot, but there's no sort of set time, and when someone's holds an AGM like you would with a traditional shareholding structure and go, we're voting yay or nay.
Are you guys saying that Brandon Ivy inboxed me? I don't know who you are because you're showing up to me as a Facebook user. So instead of telling me to inbox you, shoot me an inbox. Let me know who you are, because I don't know who you are when you're saying inbox me right now.
It's all sort of based on the computational layer on chain.
Okay.
Now, Bitcoin itself has a protocol behind what the ledger itself is doing. What the Dark Fusion protocol is bringing to the table is actually bringing computation and Turing complete logic to the chain itself, which means we can now introduce smart contracts onto Bitcoin that can act and provide this DAO governance structure on BTC.
So it's that kind of that aspect of autonomy, where we can introduce stakeholders, contributors into a system where they essentially have a vote.
Absolutely. And we can even go so far as to also manage and control weighted tiering in terms of those voting rights.
Another
True.
Okay, I want to take a pause for 1 second, and I'm going to put you back. I love when you have developers or the CEO of a project, they're talking about something and they're always going to make it big, but always, is it actual happening in real life? Is there anything we can point to in the world that is validating and backing up what he's saying? I'm going to go back and I'm going to fast forward. This is Larry Fink. I think this is important.
Well, they got a crypto.
So let's go all the way back. Wait, is this right video? Yeah, let's go to about here. Listen to what Larry Fink is saying.
Focus on the whole idea of blockchain for securities. I look forward to the day when we could tokenize stocks and bonds, that every stock and every bond we could identify immediately who is the beneficial owner, and this is why we're working on it, and every beneficial owner from an individual to an institution have the ability to vote, to democratize.
What did he just say? Every single one has the ability to vote, to democratize. What did Mike just say? What did Greg just say? Let's keep listening to this guy.
Every single vote. And that's where we want to take this, and we're leading that effort.
Oh, I actually believe most of the companies are not going to be around. I still believe that. I do believe
because they're now real, they're frauds, they're what?
Well, I mean, think about FTX. I mean, you could look back now. FTX created it. Its failure was it's creating its own token. It was not a DeFi. It wasn't a ledger that was open to the world. It was.
He said something else there. It wasn't just a DeFi. They're not. They're tokens. People are just trying to create their own token. No, you've got to have an ecosystem. You've got to have a business, not just speculation. And I'm saying it early because I heard Mike say that later on in his interview with Greg earlier. So we'll get there. But I just wanted to get this out here so you see one of the most powerful men in the world that you've never heard of is talking the same language.
A closed ledger.
Right.
It was not distributed. So the whole foundation of what crypto is, it's supposed to be a distributed ledger that is across the system.
All right, now let's go back.
Point is around why the Dark Fusion technology was so crucial to us setting up this structure, and more importantly on Bitcoin. Why didn't we set up a DAO previously?
Well, Greg, it actually comes down to the constraints of the programming language of Bitcoin itself.
Yeah.
What the team at Dark Fusion have been able to do is bring a layer of computation to Bitcoin's mainnet, which previously has only really existed in the EVM paradigm or Ethereum.
And one would also argue that, we're not interested in setting up DAOs on EVM-based solutions.
Okay, so let me break that down. DAOs have never been done before on Bitcoin because Bitcoin did not have the ability to scale on its blockchain. So it's only been done on Ethereum because Ethereum came out with its EVM, its virtual machine with Solidity language that allows developers to develop their own platform on top of the Ethereum blockchain so that they can create DeFi on it. They can create a decentralized network. Binance, you might have heard PancakeSwap, Uniswap, but this has never been able to be done before on Bitcoin until now. All right, so I just want you to understand this difference.
And that all goes down to the trust of Bitcoin, the adoption of Bitcoin, and the sort of the value that can be unlocked within that network.
Absolutely, and I think in its simplest form is if you were building a DAO on top of a centralized organization, at its fundamentals, it's not a DAO.
Yeah.
So any perceived DAO sitting on Ethereum.
Ooh, that was a strong statement there. You can't build a DAO on top of a central network. It's not a DAO. So this is actually going to be the first legitimate decentralized autonomous organization, period, because they're doing it on the Bitcoin network, which is already the most secure decentralized system run by 1 million plus miners who's doing all the voting and all the upgrades, not just one source. So it's like a DAO on top of a DAO. Wow, that just hit me.
Is not actually decentralized.
Exactly.
It's true form.
And I think that that's really what Dark Fusion brings to the table through smart contract tooling, allowing us to put the necessary controls to facilitate the rollout of a decentral autonomous organization. And now we can do that. So making true on the promise of our solution on Bitcoin, and now to build out the world's first network-powered, decentral gaming system on Bitcoin, brought to you.
Let me repeat. That's something you guys might want to write. Watch this again. Pause it at that. It's at the 5-minute mark. Dang, I'm only 5 minutes in. At the 5-minute mark, and you want to memorize what he just said there. Now I'm going to play it again.
Now we can do that. So making true on the promise of our solution on Bitcoin, and now to build out the world's first network-powered, decentral gaming system on Bitcoin, brought to you by VRX. So it's very exciting. Now I want to go into the structured tiers of this organization and how our network and our ambassadors benefit off this new construct in setting up this DAO. So we come from the affiliate network, which has been the main distribution point for us and how we build out our properties. But now how are we rewarding those participants in this new construct? And where does...
Okay, so think of Bitcoin. When Bitcoin first got started, there's no company doing the marketing. There's no company called Bitcoin. So how do you get it out there? Well, it's the miners themselves. It's when you had the Winklevoss twins running around with Bitcoin shirts on when nobody knew what Bitcoin was. And they're like, what, do you own the company? There is no company Bitcoin, but we own the asset. So it's in our benefit to be talking good about Bitcoin, because the more of you guys that get it, the higher our asset rises. And if they're a miner, you're incentivized to share it and build the platform, because you're going to be rewarded in Bitcoin. Well, if we have this concept of VRX, the first way, how do you get it out there? You have an affiliate system in place, since we can't do ICOs, and those are considered mostly illegal. So how do you benefit? How do you incentivize the affiliates? Well, you got to give them a piece of it, because they're putting in the work. They're doing the work. Let me continue here.
The value lie.
So I think if we kind of just cover the base of how the validation and voting structure would actually work, in this type of model, holders of the VRX token are essentially the holders of the computation in this ecosystem. They're typically known as validators, and they would then stake up their tokens in order to be able to facilitate any transactions or decisions made within the ecosystem. We are able to bring a tier over and above just generic holding of tokens and staking in the form of, as you mentioned, founder status badges, and we've also got a current promotion running for our Pro Elite status members. This really, at the end of the day, is rewarding early adopters and big ticket investments into this DAO, actually, and really like rewarding people that have aligned to our long-term vision.
Okay. He's watching his words very carefully because of compliance. So let me put it this way: back in the day, ICO. What is the point of an ICO? It is normally for a company to share their vision of what they want to do, but then they need to raise the funds to make it happen. So how do they raise the funds? Well, they have what he's talking about, tiers. So you have your early investors that's able to purchase, they send money to the company to be able to get these tokens before they launch, and the tokens are dirt cheap. And then they go through the next round of funding and the next round of funding. And you don't do anything. All you did was gave them your money. And you gave them your money because you believe that the value of that token is going to rise so that you can cash out and make a profit. But you don't have to do anything outside of you were the first to give them your money. Unfortunately, in the United States, that is considered illegal. It is the sale of a security. It is investors giving a company their money with the explicit intent of the company doing something to raise the value of that token so you can cash out on later on. Okay, do you understand that? I don't believe it should be. Well, I'm not going to talk about my belief. That the authorities believe that to be illegal. So what does a company like VRX do instead? Instead of saying, you're going to be an early adopter and you just give us the money and we're going to be doing things behind the scenes, and as a result of that, the token's going to rise in value so you can cash out and earn a profit off of your investment. Instead, what they're saying is, no, you are now part of this DAO. You are part of the ecosystem. You are providing liquidity and also doing something, tasks with our VRX token for the entire ecosystem to work, and we will reward you for that in a certain way. So you're not just sitting back doing nothing, waiting for the value to rise. You are part of the system. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. I don't know how I can break that down anymore. Let me see what else they say here.
Okay, and we're going to talk more about that now in the tokenomics.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now I wanted to just kind of hit home around the actual tiering of how the founder status and the pro elite status actually work within this governance structure, and that the limited supply of those statuses and them being closed promotions mean that the access to these status tiers and governance will never be minted again in the future.
So now let's look at the governance controls. So this is going to be we're looking at a strategy whereby, it's always, in kind of reality, it's a lot trickier than one would expect in how to evolve this. But obviously we've now have the solution within the smart contracting technology to facilitate the rollout. So we will be doing it in a phased approach. So currently we are a centrally run operation, which is leading up now to a centralized listing. And as soon as we get, from a public perspective, more participants in the system, we start phasing this into a partially decentralized system. And then ultimately, the goal is to be fully decentral, all on Bitcoin, our own marketplace, our own system.
Wow, that's smart. That's actually helping you to establish a foundation. A lot of these you don't realize more than 90% of meme tokens that come out and they're trying to use a decentralized function fail. And the reason they fail, in my opinion, is since they can't do ICO style, they are attempting to raise funds on a launch and the hype of a new token. But the problem is that community is only trying to get in and do like a pump and dump. They're trying to get as many tokens as they can first, wait for the price to go up, and then sell. And they have no investment or interest in the long-term stability of the project. And then those companies don't have the money to keep supporting it because the excitement of it is already gone. Instead, if you come out on a centralized way, on the centralized platforms where you can now build your brand, build your company, your vision, get your vision out there, you can have more people engaging and wanting to, I want to use the word invest in your product, not invest in the token, but invest in your product. Now you're building the liquidity. So now you can afford to move into a decentralized way. And you already got the liquidity backing you, you've got the brand backing, you've got the name, the whole project. And now you have utility where the token is actually working as it's supposed to. That makes sense. Okay.
System wallet live, functional, where everything is, essentially running on the Bitcoin network.
So yes, it is a multi-phase approach. It's not something we can flick a switch and just transition overnight.
Yeah.
We're probably looking at a couple of years to really get this absolutely nailed.
Now that is an interesting statement right there. And I've been saying this since last year. This is not a get rich quick. This is not a 6-month hype deal. They actually, from the first time we saw this, they have a 40-year game plan, but they're not rushing this. They're doing it right. So this is going to be a multi-year stepping stone. Does that mean you have to wait years before you can make money? No, I've already made more than 6 figures in the first year. But the whole process is going to take some time, which I also know what that means is laws are going to be changing. Technology is going to be changing. So they're positioning themselves to be able to change and adapt. That's good on the corporate sense, but it can be frustrating for any of you guys that don't understand or have the long-term vision of this, and you want things to be done a certain way and to hit certain timetables. That might be frustrating for you, but this is where you're going to have a long-term understanding of this and be prepared when hiccups occur. But I like you say, hey, look, this is going to take a couple of years.
But it doesn't mean that the first action towards this decentralized play doesn't start immediately.
Yes.
And that is from the perspective of looking at our token vesting and emissions would be our founders initially, Pro Elite, and our public seed round. And we're actually introducing a booster.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So again, if you've ever been in an ICO, or even now, you see guys or companies that say, all right, we're going to have our first round and you're able to buy the tokens at 41 cents. We've got our second round, seed round, but the token goes up. Now it's like 52 cents. And then our third round, you can get in on the third round, but now the token has gone up in value. But those who got in on the first round got it dirt cheap, which means they got more. So what they're saying here is, okay, the way we did it, our first round was our ambassadors when we were in stealth launch last year, and then the first part of pre-launch. Our second round is now the Pro Elite. And then our third round is going to be the public sale outside of just Vara ambassadors, but for the public. So you guys seeing how that's breaking up? So it pays to have been a founder. It pays to be the Pro Elite, because you are getting this stuff before the public has access to it.
Mechanism where there'll be 120 million of our billion tokens will be allocated.
Well, that's really the value that these early contributors.
Okay, so what that means is there's going to be 1 billion tokens forever, but they've set aside 150 million tokens to be airdropped to the founders and the pro elite and the beginners, first, second tiers. So we're getting our hands on these tokens first, but they're not tokens yet. So there is no sale of tokens taking place. The product that we're selling is assets to be used in the metaverse, in the gaming Starvara world. And then after the minting takes place, then we can decide what to do from an individual standpoint, which means this again, we have to be involved. We're not just sitting aside and just watching this happen and hoping they're going to make money for us. No, we are involved in the process. We are building the ecosystem along with the company because we now have ownership in the DAO. I mean, if I'm not making sense, type in the chat box. Let me know if I'm not making sense, if you're not getting it. All right. But I see how they're doing this from a compliant standpoint and how we are benefiting by being the first and the ambassadors. If you are not an ambassador, I would strongly suggest you get the Pro Elite pack while you can, because that's also going to be limited. If you are an ambassador, I still strongly suggest you also get the Pro Elite pack while you can. You already got the ambassador. Now get the Pro Elite as well. All right, let's see.
Contributors
Absolutely.
unlock, over the next 2 to 5 years.
Exactly. And now the sort of the airdropping of those additional tokens just further enhances.
Oh, he said it.
To reward.
He said the airdropping. So people say, what am I buying? You're not buying tokens. We're not selling tokens. We're selling a package that gives you access to our ecosystem and the game and the products. And as a reward, you will be airdropped these credits. I'm also saying this so you guys know the right language to use when you're out there marketing, you're out there sharing this. You're not selling packages so people can buy tokens. That's not what we're selling here.
Rewarding these early adopters, and it really cements home the voting rights.
Okay, that's a great question. What is the benefit of a founder getting the Pro Elite packages? Well, the Pro Elite packages is coming with things that the founder packages did not have. One, you're getting more tokens. You're getting more credits. You're getting more loot boxes to be used in the game. You're getting special skins that didn't have before. You're also, as well as the access keys, but it also is going to allow you to participate in the other stuff they've added, which is the top-offs and the monthly subscription stuff. So to participate in that aspect of activities, you've got to have the Pro Elite pack to qualify, as well as the bonus pools and the promo that they have going on. You can't benefit from that unless you have the Pro Elite pack. So I hope that makes sense. Founders are getting airdrops. The Pro Elite is the next stage. They're just not getting everything that the founders had. Okay. All right, let's keep going.
That these two top tier governance holders will actually have in the long term in the DAO.
Now we're going to talk around tokenomics. We've been working on this plan for some time now. This business has evolved. We've been through a number of different cycles, all central to our core vision, which was to create this truly decentralized Bitcoin vision. And going from a massively multiplayer online metaverse game, building out this robust affiliate network, bringing in the ultra fair component with the iGaming future, and so much more planned on the roadmap. We had to build a tokenomic plan which was robust and essentially accounted for all this growth by rewarding early contributors and making sure that we have the sustainability, the longevity that one would expect in building out a healthy token economy.
Absolutely, Greg. It's been a fairly exhaustive exercise, and I think we've covered or crossed all of our T's, dotted our I's.
Yeah.
I think at the core of it is the idea that the tokenomic model has followed the evolution of the business and broken out of the constraints of a particular game or game ecosystem in terms of the MMO. It's now a lot bigger than this. It encompasses the entire marketplace, the ecosystem, multi-participants, and to your point, also aligns to the future vision of various other types of game content, iGaming.
All right, so when we first got started, it was all about Vara, the MMO, the tokenomics of that, transactions happening in the game. But now it goes beyond those constraints. So us early adopters is not only going to benefit from Vara, the MMO, but we're going to benefit from the entire ecosystem, which might include other projects, other games, other partnerships like with Ultrafair that's now included, which now we've just expanded our ability to earn to be much bigger. I hope that makes sense.
Actually come into this ecosystem. We've modeled this in such a way that it's showing our intention behind stability and longevity of this project. There's vesting that exceeds 6 years in certain allocations. We've focused a lot of the tokenomic allocation early vesting, to your point, to reward our early adopters. I mentioned earlier.
So I want you to think into the future now. Imagine where this project is going to be 2 to 3 years from now. And the people that are involved and getting involved for the first time then will not have the same access or the stuff of being in a position that those of you guys that got started now. Facebook, I need more clarification on the nodes or keys. Well, I don't know how more clarification I can give that when I do the presentations. But again, there's 25,000 access keys. Those access keys is giving whoever owns the access key the license to be a staker or a validator. What are the validators? The validators are like, think of the master node when Ethereum moved from proof of work to proof of stake. The only way you can be a validator on Ethereum is if you had a wallet with more than 30-something Ethereum coins in it. That meant you are now able to stake so that because you are providing the liquidity for the Ethereum market. So when people are going to the exchanges and doing trades, there's got to be some money there for the trades to take place. And if you're providing that with your tokens, you're going to be rewarded by getting more Ethereum as a reward for you not dumping all of your Ethereum on the market. In this ecosystem, you're going to, every time somebody trades in the game, every time they create something, every time there's an NFT in the game, every time there's a reward that's being given, anytime somebody wants to cash that out into different digital tokens on the in-game exchange, is a transaction that's going to be recorded on the blockchain. There needs to be liquidity there to make this all happen. There needs to be a validator there to record all of those transactions. And these 25,000 access keys is what's allowing that to happen, which means those access keys need to be rewarded for. And that reward, from what we heard this week, is going to be in the form of not extra VRX, but Bitcoin. They're going to reward us in Bitcoin. That's revolutionary. That's never happened before in any type of staking. If you're on crypto.com and you've got Chronos and you're staking your Chronos, you're rewarded in Chronos. If you're on BNB for the Binance, you're staking your BNB, you're rewarded with BNB. Here, their staking rewards is going to be in the form of Bitcoin, which the SEC declares is not a security. And why is that also important? The SEC right now, the United States, is looking for ways to go after stakers from a tax point of view, a revenue point of view, and they're trying to write law to decide, is staking considered a security? Who is rewarding the stakers? You know, that whole process. Why is Stu Feldman calling me when can you guys hear me right now? Hey, Stu, I see you on here right now. I'm live. Is everything good? I'm still Yes, I'm still broadcasting live.
Okay.
Can you guys type me in the chat box if you guys could hear me? I want to make sure I didn't drop off.
Okay. Well, I was on, and I thought you were already out. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm still. Yeah, they're telling. There's. I saw you just you typed something. Yeah, I'm still live right now.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye bye. All right. I see he just said something in here. He asked founders were supposed to get the airdrops. All right. Okay. So dang it, I hate when that happens because I kind of lost my train of thought. Let's keep going here.
This booster mechanism, post our founder Pro Elite and IEO with our partner CoinStore, we'll be doing airdrops to the participants who pick up tokens in that series, and then sort of starts moving towards aspects of our various other buckets. Our community and project grants, we've got quite a strong allocation on that front. Our platform development, and a large portion, almost 20%, focusing on marketing over the next 6 years to help proliferate this ecosystem.
And within these tokenomics, what was the kind of the core design ethos?
Certainly, looking over the near term, it's about making sure we can gain traction.
Okay.
And a big part of that is coming back to this rewarding early adopters. And something we haven't really touched on is actually the idea of how we're giving out rewards. We can have a right to mint with all of our 1 billion tokens pre-allocated and actually reward validators with things other than VRX tokens.
Oh, yeah. The staking and what he just said right there. We're able to reward the validator. So when you hear the term validator, think those of you who have access keys. You're the validators. And when he's saying reward, he's talking about how you, as a validator, and Stu called me and I was answering his question about the airdrops and all this stuff. You're being rewarded for helping to build the system. You bought packages that include access keys that is now allowing you, because you're providing a service, you're not just paying money and waiting for the value of your tokens to rise. You are part of the system that without you, it cannot work. So you're being rewarded in the form of airdrops. And he's saying in other tokens, Alex, we are all getting the founder airdrops. They just have to do them in a compliant manner. And we need them to have value and the infrastructure in place to do something with them first. That's correct. Because if they did it before there's any value, now they're crossing into something that could become illegal. You guys understand everything. I have to appreciate. It may be frustrating for the people who don't understand, but I have to appreciate they want to make sure that you're protected and they're doing everything in a compliant way. And this brings longevity, which means a project that's going to be here for a long time where we early adopters will make even more money. All right, let me continue because I'm only, 12 minutes in? Dang.
Using the Dark Fusion protocol, for example, Bitcoin. That is going to be the primary reward incentive for validators and participants in our token ecosystem. We can then also introduce various other SEL assets, for example, rocket fuel in game. So it's kind of limitless.
I forgot about that. I ain't gonna lie, I forgot about that. He said rocket fuel in game. Remember now I'm speaking to you founders. You remember last year when we had Dom that was doing the live demo of the game, and he was talking about the in-game ecosystem and market share, and the fact that somebody's got to mine the fuel, then you got to sell the fuel because people who have the spaceships are going to need to buy the fuel. These are all transactions. And what's validating these transactions? The stakers are, or the access key holders. So let me see if he says a little more about that on this.
We can then also introduce various other SEL assets, for example, rocket fuel in game. So it's kind of limitless in terms of what we're able to do on that front.
Limitless.
We've got quite a low emissions curve initially, and looking at sort of in the next 12 months, when our first major unlocks start taking place, we know that we've got.
Okay, did you hear what he just said? We're looking at it's going to take 12 months before our first major unlock. I don't know what that means or what that entails, but I hear the timeline. So let me go back just a little bit.
We can then also introduce various other SEL assets, for example, rocket fuel in game. So it's kind of limitless in terms of what we're able to do on that front. We've got quite a low emissions curve initially, and looking at sort of in the next 12 months, when our first major unlocks start taking place, we know that we've got increased capital velocity. Taking, for example, the game, which will be launching in 6 weeks' time, a lot more activity in the ecosystem.
The game, which will be launching in 6 weeks' time. All right. Let's look at the calendar. Today's February 9th. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're looking at close to the end of I'm thinking when they probably recorded this, somewhere around March 15th or the 22nd, somewhere around there, the game launches. So those of us in beta for the Battle Royale, we are about to end the second part of beta and go into the third. So I know Matthew Ramos is leading the way on that right now. He's ranked number 1. So that's about to come to a close, and then we're going to have the last stretch. And I think what they're going to launch is the Battle Royale first to the public. Right now it's closed. You got to be a Vara ambassador to be in it. So I think that, I don't know if that means when they launch the game, that's going to be open beta. When that takes place, I'm not sure, but I know I just marked that timetable.
So let's break down the tokenomics high level. So if we look at our total allocation, if you could run us through some of the numbers.
Total allocation, 1 billion. Minted on SEL will be our final play, where our tokens will live, be traded, and the ecosystem where the VRX token will live.
How is that spread in terms of allocations? So we're going to go on to the value to early contributors, but how is that spread across the board? You've talked around how we're promoting longevity growth.
Yep.
But in terms of initial allocations versus, post-listing allocations, and how we make sure that we keep the system healthy and sustainable over time.
So just going to refer to my notes quickly, just to confirm. But we've got a spread of 20%, 200 million tokens across community. That would be foundations, grants, and the like. 28% across rewards. That includes founders, pro elite, seed, and boosters.
Founders, pro elite. He said teams and boosters. That's another 20 million tokens that's going to us. Okay.
We've allocated 19% to company operations and platform development. 14% of that going to additional 14.
Let me correct. I just say not 20 million, 20%. So let me back up. I'll make sure, because somebody's going to say Brandon said 20 million coins. Well, it's 20%. Let me back up.
The board, you've talked around how we're promoting longevity growth.
Yep.
But in terms of initial allocations versus, post-listing allocations, and how we make sure that we keep the system healthy and sustainable over time.
So just going to refer to my notes quickly, just to confirm. But we've got a spread of 20%, 200 million tokens across community. That would be foundations, grants, and the like. 28% across rewards. That includes founders, pro elite, seed, and boosters.
All right, so 20% is 200 million tokens, and then 28% is going to us. And who else?
We've allocated 19% to company operations and platform development. 14% of that going to additional 14% going to core team and advisors, and a big allocation of 190 million tokens, 90% on marketing for content contributors, influencers, brand partners, and the likes.
Okay, I got to figure out how I'm going to get in on that side, because I'm also an influencer. I'm just thinking out loud.
Okay, so that explains how the spread works across the ecosystem, and as you alluded to, and how we release those tokens, it's done in a very kind of constructive, conservative manner.
The sort of the where we've been able to throttle the emissions is on the sort of more evergreen aspects of the ecosystem. What I mean by that, it's the foundation aspects, it's the platform development. We've drawn out marketing over a long period, as I mentioned earlier, minimum 6 years. Community project grants. We're going to be liquidating VRX tokens over a series of probably up to 4 years to make sure that we.
Oh, there. Okay. So when he says we're going to be liquidating the VRX tokens, meaning it's going to take all billion is not going to be dropped at once. This is going to happen in stages. And I wonder, after that happens, is that when the burning starts, or does that start immediately with the game? But he's talking about the next 4 years, which means the value of VRX, you can't look at it based on a billion tokens. You got to look at it based on circulating supply at any given moment. And it's going to take at least 4 years before we have the full circulating supply amount. I hope I'm reading this right. You guys, there's a lot of you experts on here as well listening. So, you know, type in if I'm saying something different, or if you see something different than what I'm saying.
We're constantly bringing new, fresh content, acquisition of other game titles, a variety of different contributors.
Whoa. Okay, everything's in the wording. There's one thing to say we're creating the product like Vara. We're partnering with an organization like Ultrafair, but he said acquisition of game titles. That could mean that, yeah, we're just bringing some other titles on board, or we're buying them out. I'm just saying.
And rewards, they will take place over around about 2 years.
So let's talk around the
rewards will take place over or not until. Let me back up a second.
Over a long period, as I mentioned earlier, minimum 6 years. Community project grants. We're going to be liquidating VRX tokens over a series of probably up to 4 years to make sure that we're constantly bringing new, fresh content, acquisition of other game titles, a variety of different contributors, and rewards. They will take place over around about 2 years.
So let's talk around the early contributors in the project and their value in the short, medium to long term, the benefits, the bonuses, specifically for our founder members going on to Pro Elite, then going on to public. So there are 3 key tiers. Yep. You've got founders, early contributors in the project. You've got the Pro Elite status, and then we now have the public.
So if you're a founder, why would you want to be on the Pro Elite? Double up. Double up. If I was in seed 1 round, I'm going to also be in the seed 2 round. I'm going to also be in the seed 3 round. I'm also, the moment that the token goes live on exchanges, I'm going to be trading on those as well. You see what I'm saying? I always, you know, I don't want to call it double dip, but this is the only way you can get your hands on more of these. There's no other way to do it yet. So that's why, if you're a founder, you might want to get a Pro Elite so that you can get more.
Sale allocation, which will all be facilitated and run through our network arm.
Yes.
What is the main benefit? Okay, so you talked around the privileges within the DAO. Mm-hmm. So there will be voting privileges based on your tier and contribution to the network. Given the,
you hear that? There'll be benefits based on your tier. So if you're a founder, you're going to have more benefits than somebody who was the elite or somebody who's on the next tier from the public. So let's listen to this very closely, because I know some of you guys are going to ask the same question and you're listening to the same thing I'm listening to.
Okay, so you talked around the privileges within the DAO. So there will be voting privileges based on your tier and contribution to the network, given the exclusive.
Now, what does that mean? One, your tier, and then your contribution to the network. That means how many access keys do you have and how many VRX tokens do you have? You know, whoever has the most is obviously going to be getting more.
NFT status badge and what that entails in the construct of the DAO. So based on your rank, based on your tier, you get.
Did you hear that as well? Based on your rank. This is why I said this last year at the very beginning. We want to get promoted as high as we possibly can, as fast as we possibly can, because there's going to be stuff coming that we don't know about yet. But those who are sitting at the top are in the best position. This promo that they have going on right now, I've already called Nick to have a special call Monday to go over the promotion. And part of that is you're going to get double the ranking points so that you can get ranked up higher. Right now, actually getting ranked higher is more important than how much money can I make right now, because there's going to be far more money in the pools down the road. So, hope I'm making sense on that.
Specific rights.
Yes.
But then the real value, away from the unlocks, which we're going to talk around now, is this booster allocation. So being a part of this 3-tier bucket unlocks the booster allocation, which is enormous in terms of value. Can you just run us through that?
So there's actually quite a lot that you've mentioned there, Greg, and I think it all encompasses revenue reward benefits.
Okay.
I think is the aspect of
that is an important statement. Revenue reward benefits. Why is that important? That means no rewards are being given out until revenue is generated. And how is revenue generated? Because people are buying the product. Not, I'm putting my money in and they're guaranteeing me 3% a week on trading that I don't even know is going on or not. And even if there's no trading, I'm still getting 3%. How's that possible? Because they are getting money from new people to pay old people. That's a Ponzi. Here, there are no rewards without revenue being generated. And there is no revenue unless there's a market for value. They can't release the tokens until it has value, which is also why they partnered with CoinStore, because now the token's going to be immediately listed. And it's not speculation anymore. See, ICO, it's all about speculation. We have an idea. We're gonna come up with something, and you can buy the tokens now while they're cheap, and then we're gonna take the money from you guys giving us, and we're gonna go build something, and then you're gonna be rewarded. No. What they're saying here is we're building it first, selling it, and then you will be rewarded. You guys understand that flow? This is basically from a legal point of view.
Really hit home. So we've got access keys, which we know are a multiplier of revenue rewards. There's
now, what does that mean? A multiplier of revenue rewards. The more access keys you have, the more your rewards will be multiplied. Okay.
Allocation of revenue dedicated towards these early adopter statuses across your founder tier and pro elite. And any NFT that is staked that is.
Now I'm thinking the only way you're going to be able to get the access keys was from the founder position and the pro elite. I don't know if they're going back to selling them individually, because they haven't released all 25,000. I don't know what the number is. I got to ask that. Maybe over 1,000 or 1,500 access keys have been sold so far. Maybe high end, maybe 3,000. But I may be wrong on that. But yeah, this is the time to get them now, early on.
Acts as a revenue reward multiplier, benefits off additional tokens staked. So as a validator holding a founder status badge with an access key, I then get not only the governance, DAO voting rights, but I also get a right to an increased weighting in the revenue of the ecosystem.
You see that? I get an increased rating. Was it rating or ranking in the revenue system?
Revenue reward multiplier benefits off additional tokens staked. So as a validator holding a founder status badge with an access key, I then get not only the governance DAO voting rights, but I also get a right to an increased weighting in the revenue of the ecosystem. Then through the booster allocation that we've mentioned, after we've gone through the founder, pro, elite, and our seed phase through the network, we'll be airdropping this 120 million tokens to those early participants, which then adds, it's a huge multiplier. So to give you an
Now, did you see that? He just told you what's happening. The airdrop doesn't happen first, but they got 100 and something million to be airdrop. I thought originally the access keys were sold over time. That is correct. Yeah, they'll be sold over time. But they're not going to allow all 25. They're not going to allow like some Saudi billionaire to come in. Yeah, I want to buy 20,000 access keys today. That ain't gonna happen. So they're only releasing a certain amount to be available to be sold in phases. And then I'm going to assume that the price of that access key is going to go up in each phase, just like what happened with Gala. Started out with 500. Now, if you want a Gala access key, you got to have 100, or access nodes got $100,000.
example,
There will be specific actions.
Absolutely.
How much? What was that number again? How many airdrop was it? 120 million or 150 million? Let me see.
It's a right to an increased weighting in the revenue of the ecosystem. Then through the booster allocation that we've mentioned, after we've gone through the founder, pro, elite, and our seed phase through the network, we'll be airdropping this 120 million tokens to those early participants, which then adds, it's a huge multiplier. So to give you an example, there
will be specific actions.
Absolutely.
One would have to.
So if you're familiar with airdrops isn't you just sign up and you get an airdrop. There's actions you got to do. So they haven't revealed what these other actions are outside of the fact that we own an access key. We're an early adopter. We're a founder. Let me hear this.
Take within this to firstly keep people engaged in our system, which unlocks these rewards over time.
Certainly. So because it's all still running through the network, there'll be certain mechanisms that are triggered within the ambassador portal and functions and actions that would need to take place in terms of velocity and activity, in terms of sales, the minimum staking requirements as well will come into play to unlock certain tiers and rewards. And to your point as well, the rank leaderboard will actually hold a lot of gravitas into
the rank leaderboard. Huh. Are you guys on the leaderboard? Right now, rank number 2 is Herschel Crow. So your ranking is important. And they're having a promo next week to help you to get ranked higher. Where is this? Leaderboards. Abundance, number 1. Give me that. Herschel Crow, number 2. Genesis, Alan Platt, number 3. Live One Dream Me, number 4. And I'm not liking that at all. I'm not even in the top 3. That's going to change. But how high you're ranked. No, let me hear that again.
In terms of sort of portal and functions and actions that would need to take place in terms of velocity and activity, in terms of sales, the minimum staking requirements as well will come into play to unlock certain tiers and rewards. And to your point as well, the rank leaderboard will actually hold a lot of gravitas in terms of how individuals get to participate within the governance structure in the early phases.
So that's really where the value lies now for being a part of these 3 tiers. in terms of the tokenomic plan and the reward that we're giving back to our early contributors, which now makes up to 12% of the entire network.
Yeah, the boosters in itself in this early phase equates to a massive 12%.
So really, that's important to understand, Mike, is the value behind these 3-tier buckets is not only do...
Now, I've got to figure out how to be able to say all of that in a short 25-minute presentation to people who are not familiar with crypto. I have to take that challenge in a way they can understand and see why they should purchase a Pro Elite pack. Okay.
I have the incentive pools, everything, all the utility that token unlocks within this network structure, but we have access to this booster allocation, which accounts for 12% of the network over time that will be rewarded to tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 participants, which is incredible.
Yeah, Greg, it's a massive allocation. And
so remember, if you're a founder, you're tier 1. If you get Pro Elite, you're till tier 2. And I guess tier 3 is open to the public.
It's a vote of thanks to our early adopters.
So now I want to talk around the Yield Pro and how that translates into value in terms of VRX and staking.
Yeah. I think it's a very important.
Now understand, everything they said up to this point had nothing to do with Yield Pro. Because I know people in the United States and other restricted regions are like, "Oh man, we're asked out. We can't participate." All of that had nothing to do with Yield Pro. Yield Pro is extra.
Important thing to cover because Yield Pro is right with us in the here and now. We've spoken about rewards emissions in the form of Bitcoin, yet individuals with tokens staked up in Yield Pro will see that they are accruing rewards in the form of additional tokens.
Yes.
That is something that is essentially a near-term or medium-term approach in order to make sure that there is utility and rewards going out to the network right now. And as we'll transition away.
So the 120 million airdrops, that's going to be later. The Yield Pro stuff is what's happening right now. Okay. The staking and all that, because those on the international groups that already have the Yield Pro, they're seeing rewards immediately. But that's only in certain markets and jurisdictions. What about the Stargate people? That was only for a month or two. I think the Stargate people were they considered founders? Did they get access key? I think, as long as you've got the access key, you're good. But I don't remember if Stargate was considered founders or not. Someone else can maybe answer that question for me.
Within the next sort of 6 to 12 months after, well, actually it wouldn't be, it's 11 months when the lockup ends. Before that time, we'll crack open the Yield Pro contract, and we will then transition from a rewards emission cycle in terms of rewarding individuals with these VRX tokens and start transitioning into our future goal of BTC rewards. So part of our allocation from the marketing allocation of VRX at the moment is what is going into the Yield Pro rewards at the moment.
So just to summarize our discussion, we will be releasing the tokenomics, but let's just cover the basis. So we're 1 billion tokens on issue. The system has been designed around longevity and sustainability over time, and that's clear in our schedule in terms of our vestings.
He says schedule. That just sounded that funny.
Our unlocks, rewarding early participants in the system, and really, accounting for all the additional value that we're going to bring into the system over time, with the marketing allocation, the operations allocation, having this project grants, our foundation allocation, everything has been designed in these tokenomics to, promote and grow the value within our system over time.
Absolutely. I like how they got the globe right here and they got Africa right in the center. I like that.
Absolutely. And to add to that, I think it's really the the way we've looked at the variety of contributors now and what this potentially can be in the future is front and center to those individuals that are going to be supporting this ecosystem, and how we can make sure that their inclusion years down the line, that there's still benefit to them as well.
Another point I'd like to discuss is there's two aspects to this tokenomics, and this is the beauty of this model, is that you have utility already behind this token within our affiliate network, which is the key driver of helping us distribute and propagate this ecosystem in unlocking these incentive pools. So more tokens and access keys I have at stake, the more incentive rewards through the ambassador program I can unlock. Then you have the utility of our token being a listed token, where you have that appreciation in value. So there's really value, on all fronts here, in terms of, having this token that's already in market, having a centrally run business, which, has been profitable over the last year. So proven cash flows that we have, built out, and now we're going to be bringing into this decentral economy, which is ultimately going to prop up the token. A lot of GameFi Web, 3 projects that are in market, are highly speculative, don't have supported business models with proven out cash flows.
That's what I was talking about earlier. It's all speculative. It's an idea. They don't have anything working, and they're trying to raise money to get it to work. And the people that they're raising the money from in form like ICOs is the hope that this is going to succeed. What they're saying is, with the value we have, all of our airdrops and all of that stuff will happen after we have value already. It's already listed. We partnered with CoinStore. We're legit, bona fide. I like that.
That, they can now bring into something that's going to list in terms of the value. And I think that that's what's very unique about what we're doing here. So we've set the foundation. We're listing a token. We've, got these proven business fundamentals that we're bringing into market. Now, when we look at outside public participants, outside the network that are looking to get involved in this business, that are looking to contribute, we've done a lot of the groundwork, to get to this point, where a lot of these types of business models, they'll go list a token,
Yep, that's all he's saying is, and this is why the founders and the pro elite people will be rewarded, is because we're helping to build this foundation first before it goes public. So by the time the public is saying, I want in on this I've been hearing you look at the Dark Fusion Telegram group, thousands of people there. I'm impressed with some influencers in there that have nothing to do with Vara Ambassador, but they're seeing this technology. They're getting excited about it. They're already making videos about this. It's starting to hit, social media and everything. They're going to want in on this project, but the foundation's already been built. So they have more confidence to want to build or invest in this project, because this part's already, the hard work's already been done. So they don't have to worry about, oh yeah, you're just going to use my money trying to get yourselves off the ground, and there's a more likely chance you're going to fail. Instead, they're like, dang, they've already done the work. This thing already has value. I want to in on this before it really takes off. Does that make sense? Oh, that makes sense. Let's go.
They'll rely on that kind of speculative outlook and demand on raising capital and getting the stock moving before they've even proven out the fundamentals.
Absolutely. I think it's, we certainly haven't put all our eggs in one basket, so to speak. And if we quickly just rattle off a few sort of examples of utility of the token. You might have a long-term investor mindset, founders that are staking up massive amount of tokens, drawing off yield over a long period of time. We will obviously have our centralized listing, which brings an exciting paradigm to the VRX token value. And it does, we do want guys trading. We want velocity of the token as well. You're going to have play-to-earn gamers that are utilizing the VRX token as a transactional token, that are able to.
But there's a difference between hype trading and trading on business with fundamentals.
Absolutely, and I think it's it's really just highlighting the.
There's a difference between hype trading and trading on a business fundamental. For example, there was a pump and dump scheme done today. There was a lot of volume trading that was hype trading. This trading going on is because, like he said, you're going to have people playing the game that are doing transactions, and they have to use the VRX to do these transactions to play the game. Like my kid bringing me money because he wants to buy V-Bucks in Fortnite because he's using a service, but that's a transaction taking place. But Fortnite is not on the blockchain, so that's a centralized transaction. But what if it was on the blockchain? Those are transactions, and somebody has to validate those transactions, and there's fees that come with that where the validators are getting rewarded. I mean, I get this like plain as day. If you guys saw it the way I did, this is why I came out of retirement. I'm not playing with this. Oh, I haven't gotten a phone call from corporate yet. Oh, this thing didn't. Are you kidding me? I'm here to make millions. I'm looking down the road on where this is going to be if they succeed. And I want to be positioned as I possibly can right now. I wish there was 10 people like me. I'm just saying, people are playing with this.
The multifaceted use of something that means that the balance and the sustainability of the token means that we're not reliant on one area, one aspect, or one type of particular actor in the ecosystem for the long-term benefit of everybody else.
And that's why I think this network arm is so powerful, because you have a network that can help distribute, can help propagate. There's a compensation plan which incentivizes the network. But now, on building out this business, with proven cash flows, we're now this economy. Can you imagine what that does for the token price?
I tell you now, I have no desire to sell my tokens. I'm staking as much as I possibly can, and I'm looking multi-year. I'm looking over the next 2 to 3 or 3 to 5 years. What that value is going to be then, not 6 months from now.
Because now it's a kind of a win-win scenario. You've got this compensation plan, which incentivizes the people to grow because, there's livelihood, there's an income. But in turn, they're actually driving the price of their token up because they're building out this business, which is incredible when you think about it.
So let me come at you a different way. Instead of looking at this from a networking side, I need to build a huge organization so I can make money. Instead, look at it from an investor side, that you already own assets in this ecosystem. The value of your asset rises with the more people that's involved and engaged, and the more people that's purchasing the packages right now, the higher the value of the asset you already have goes. But the only way more people are going to purchase the packages is if we tell them to. They're not out there marketing this yet. That's what the network is for, as Vara ambassadors, for us to get the word out. And the more of us that do that, the more packages and pro elites that's being sold, the higher the value of the asset you already purchased as an ambassador happens. So this can happen fast or it can happen slow. It's going to happen. I hope that makes sense.
So it's kind of participants, contributors, ultimately deciding their own fate.
Absolutely, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I think it's all aligned to the buy-in and the vision, alignment to the vision of what we're building out here.
That goes back to the Winklevoss twins running around wearing Bitcoin t-shirts in 2010. Nobody knew what Bitcoin was. They're like, why are you doing that? It's because we own 1% of all Bitcoin. The more people that's getting involved, the more our asset's going to be worth in value. It's like if you own a home and you want to sell the home, but nobody knows that your home is for sale, what's the value of it?
And this transition with the DAO moving towards 100% of network profit going into the token value, which supports the ecosystem across every facet of every platform that we're building, really kind of hits home at like how important the network function is.
And I think that
Well, what's the question? What you're saying there, Stan, is goes back to what Herschel was saying. The Stargate pack, you were purchasing the access keys at a less price than they were selling because they had a different price. The founders thing was over with. People still wanted access keys. Problem was you can get it, but it's going to cost you more. So they came up with the Stargate promo to be able to get your hands on access keys at a lesser price. That was the value of getting the Stargate pack at that time. It wasn't that you're going to become a founder. The founders was done and over with by that point. Didn't they bring that back though?
that's the key message we want to get across here today, is we're building out a global network focused on gaming, iGaming, and all it has to offer on Bitcoin, first in the world. Imagine us growing this network, but 100% of the profit that's generated goes into building out this token economy.
Wow.
While incentivizing the contributors who are powering this network arm. That's a business that will scale.
That's a phenomenal story. That really, truly is. I think there's untold potential, and there's definitely a lot of reason for a lot of different people to look at this favorably and want to jump on board.
Thanks, Mike. So just to summarize, we've really built these tokenomics around.
It's still the only problem that I still see is the vast majority of people, they don't know to be excited because they don't understand what this means and what the value is all about. And that's where we have to be the ones to help to educate, get the word out, the understanding. Because 3 years from now, we're going to say, man, I wish I got started back in 2023 and 2024. And then people that did get started in 2023, 2024 will remember, oh, I just remember there was a whole lot of issues and problems and delays and blah, 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 blah. I'd appreciate the journey that this has taken.
On sustainability, longevity, protection for our early contributors and investors in the project, but something that's going to scale, having the right mechanisms in place in order for this to be something that lasts. And I think that that's the important part of this, something that can grow. Anyone coming into it, feels rewarded for the value that they're contributing. So I think we've covered, from a risk mitigation perspective, we've covered all our bases with designing this tokenomic plan. But now, the key point that I wanted to mention, which maybe isn't landing, is that this has not been possible to create a decentralized autonomous organization on Bitcoin up until now.
That part, I see Greg's frustration. He's like, I don't think people are getting this. It's not landing yet. The light bulb hasn't gone off for most people yet. And let me go back and let him repeat what he just said here.
It can grow. Anyone coming into it, feels rewarded for the value that they're contributing. So I think we've covered, from a risk mitigation perspective, we've covered all our bases with designing this tokenomic plan. But now, the key point that I wanted to mention, which maybe isn't landing, is that this has not been possible to create a decentralized autonomous organization on Bitcoin up until now. That's done through smart contract tooling. To facilitate this construct has not been possible. And why I believe it's truly decentral, because it's on Bitcoin and because it's not on any other blockchain where there are, obvious problems and holes. And
is that a dig to Solana? For those of you who don't know, Solana is really the competitor for Ethereum, saying they can do everything Ethereum does but better. But there's a lot of problems, a lot of holes. They've had down outages or pause, and they had to stop the entire blockchain multiple times. Has Bitcoin ever had that problem? Never. Never has, and it never will. And what he's saying, what we've created with our technology, is the ability to do all of what they want to do without the problems on the Bitcoin blockchain. And he's like, people haven't gotten that yet. But when they do, you're going to see an explosion that takes place. We want to make sure we're here before that explosion, so that explosion pushes us up. If that makes sense.
Central control. And this is why Bitcoin is so attractive when setting up a construct like this, because it's trusted. It's impossible to hack. There are no vulnerabilities on the Bitcoin network, in order to reverse transactions.
What brought down Terra Luna? The holes. What's hampering Solana? The holes. The hard thing with Ethereum? The fees. Now, if you have a project that solves those problems, don't you think that's going to be valuable long term? Isn't that something you might want to be positioned in?
And now having this smart contract tooling protocol allows us to set this up. And that's really where the key is. And being able to unlock the utility and the value of Bitcoin, $800 billion plus. Now you've got a gaming DAO, you've got an ecosystem with its own marketplace, with its own wallet technology, exclusive for the gaming market, being able to trade assets in BTC, bid, list, buy, true ownership, sovereignty of wealth, unlocking the value in Bitcoin. That's where the key lies to this. That's where
I figured that out a year ago. And I'm like, I'm coming out of retirement. It's why I'm also not fazed by any issues and delays. And I know a lot of people on the team feel that I should be as upset or concerned or angry as they are. And it frustrates them when they see me just kind of like do this or say, just give it a couple of months. I'm looking at the big picture.
Over the moon when I think about the possibilities of what we can do with this system.
Yeah, it truly is an astonishing breakthrough. And yeah, I think pieces are all slotting into place now. And we are so bullish about, getting to market and really building out the future of VRX.
Thanks, guys, for joining. I hope this gave you a good overview of our tokenomic plan, which we will be releasing shortly in this exciting roadmap and partnership with CoinStore. I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.
All right. I hope, again, I got to ask, me doing this watch party, is that helpful? Because I just saw the same exact thing you guys saw. And me doing this, I'm able to give you my thoughts as I'm watching it. I hope that's helpful for you guys to see a better picture of this. He also said that they were going to be releasing the, what was it? Did he call it the white paper or the tokenomics? Releasing the tokenomics, and they did. And let me share screen here. So they did. So here's the tokenomics. I have not even gone anywhere on this yet because there's two. We've got the dark fusion one right here. Your region has been blocked due to compliance. All right, I'll pull that up. I don't have my security feature in place. Anyways, we got the VRX tokenomics. Next week, I'm going to break down the dark fusion one, and I'm going to break down this VRX. I'm going to go through this stuff live so that you can hear my thoughts. I'm not going to look at it beforehand. I'll make this promise, because sometimes, the most natural is the best. So I'm not going to go through this until I do it live with all of you. So we're going to go through this one. We're going to go through the dark fusion one, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Oh, there is the dark fusion. I don't know what else. Oh, I know what that was. I'm going to be going through this tomorrow. The dark fusion white paper. 25. I don't know. Because it's 25 pages, I'm not going to be reading this word for word. But I will skim through it, and we're going to pick up the most important parts to get a good understanding of what dark fusion is for those who don't know, or you read it by yourself. You have no idea what you're looking at. So we're going to do this tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. I've already posted the link in our Telegram group. It will be on StreamYard, which means those of you in the Vara Hub, you'll be able to see this on Vara Hub as well. And then next week, we're going to read the Dark Fusion docs and the Vara Tokenomics. I might have to do them on 2 separate days, depending on how long it would take me to go through. It doesn't look like it's that long at all. But you know me, I go off on tangents, so I might have to do it over 2 separate days. But let me stop. I won't go through it until we do it live. Can you speak to hold? We are going to how we are going to connect our wallets in the US. No, I cannot. All I can say is that certain regions are prohibited for now, but there are mechanisms in place to be able to manage the US market or the restricted markets. That's all I can say publicly. All right. Yeah, that's all I can say. And I got to give the disclaimer as a disclaimer. I am not a licensed financial advisor to be giving any type of financial advice. There is absolutely no guarantee of success. There's no guarantee this company will succeed. I hope they do. I want to work to help to make sure that they do, but I cannot guarantee success. I cannot guarantee maximum earnings. I cannot guarantee monthly earnings or percentages. But the way I look at things is from this standpoint, what if they fail by 90%? If they only get 10% right, is it still profitable for me? And based on what I've observed, what I've experienced, the answer is yes. Therefore, I want to participate and move forward, but I can only speak for myself. All right. With that, I hope you guys learned something new. As always, that's the point. I will be back tomorrow for the Dark Fusion white paper reading, and we'll make it public. And then we're going to really, just so you guys know me personally, I will be putting my foot on the gas come Monday. And Monday moving forward, I'm going all out as much as I possibly can because I want to get ranked as high as I possibly can. My sponsor just got freaking promoted to senator. That's 2 promotions ahead of where I'm at. I'm at vice admiral. Next is admiral of the fleet, and then senator. He got promoted to senator. That's great for him, but not acceptable for me. I can't let that stand. So if that means I go out there and I talk to a whole new set of people, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I believe in the vision of the project. That's what I believe in. And so we got to do what we got to do. So with that, and I'm looking for you leaders who want to go with me. Those are who I'm working with. Those who see the vision like myself, say, Brandon, look, we need to be positioned. I got to get promoted. Let's go to work. All right. With that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.